This episode of Beyond the Backyard is brought to you by Ultimate Archery and Outdoors, Ultimate Deer Products, Attractants Incorporated, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company, Tacticam, Jay's Sporting Goods, and by Oz Cut Broadheads. Welcome back to Beyond the Backyard, the podcast that dives into issues shaping Michigan's great outdoors. I'm your host, Steve Kretovic, and this week we're going to be talking about one of the biggest debates in our deer hunting community, and that is the one buck rule. So what is it? Why do hunters support it? And why do other hunters oppose it? So we're going to take a fair look at both sides, talk about how it could impact deer hunting across the state of Michigan. And then next week, we'll follow this up with another topic, APRs or antler point restrictions, and how those compare to the one buck idea. So whether you're listening from deer camp or on your way to work or sitting in the blind scrolling through your phone, let's break this down together. So let's start with the basics. The one buck rule, often called the OBR, is exactly what it sounds like. A system that allows each hunter to take one antlered buck per year. So right now, currently in Michigan, most of us are familiar with the combo license, which gives us 2 buck tags, one regular and one restricted. Now under a one buck rule, you could only get one tag total. So some other states like Indiana and Kentucky have adopted this rule in the past 2 decades, and their goal was to improve herd balance, but also create more opportunities for bucks to grow older before being harvested. Now here in Michigan, the conversation keeps coming back around, especially among hunters who want to see more mature bucks and others who worry it could limit opportunity or impact participation. But let's talk about some of the potential benefits that supporters of the one buck rule point to. First, it can really help improve the age structure of the buck population. When hunters are limited to one buck, many tend to hold off on shooting younger deer early in the season. Over time, that can mean more 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5-year-old bucks and so on the landscape. Second, there's a possibility of a stronger rut activity. If fewer younger bucks are harvested each year, the ratio of bucks to does can become more balanced, leading to more natural breeding behavior. And third, hunters in states with OBR often report seeing more mature deer overall. So for those who enjoy the challenge of hunting an older buck, that can make the season even more exciting. And finally, conservation-minded hunters argue that it can encourage patience and selectivity traits that can lead to healthier herds in the long run. I want to thank our sponsors of this podcast, Ultimate Archery and Outdoors in West Branch, Michigan. Head over there now for all your archery needs. They have everything from bows, crossbows, arrows, and they have some of the lowest prices in the country on bows and crossbows, Matthews, Wicked Ridge, and 10 Point. So stop over to Ultimate Archery and Outdoors right now in West Branch. Check them out. Let them know that Moose sent you. Now, like any regulation, the one buck rule comes with concerns. And it's important to look at those too. So, one, it can mean fewer opportunities for hunters. Michigan's current system allows for 2 bucks, and for a lot of hunters, especially those who have limited time to hunt, that second tag can be a big part of the experience. Losing that can mean the season is feeling a lot shorter. 2 is the economic impact. If fewer tags are being sold with the one buck rule, the Michigan DNR could definitely see a drop in revenue from license sales, and those funds help pay for wildlife management, habitat projects, and the research that goes on with the whitetail here in the state of Michigan. And 3 is not every region in Michigan is exactly the same. The deer population in southern farmland areas is very different from what you see in the UP or northern forest. A one-size-fit rule for the state of Michigan doesn't always make sense for the habitats in the state. And 4, there's the hunter preference factor. Some people simply enjoy harvesting any legal buck, especially those who hunt for meat or tradition rather than antler size. The one buck rule might not fit everyone's goals. So while it could have biological or herd benefits in some areas, it might create frustration or reduce participation in others. This topic gets a wide range of reactions from Michigan hunters. Some say, I quote, "It's time for Michigan to manage for older bucks. The one buck rule would help," end of quote. Others respond, I quote, "Let hunters decide how to use their tags. Don't take away our choices," end of quote. Both sides care deeply about the future of hunting in the state of Michigan, and that's what makes it a healthy debate. And I know in this time, in this era that we live in, sometimes healthy debates don't happen, but it needs to happen. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want a strong deer herd, and we want a hunting culture that lasts for generations to come, especially with the fact that we've lost almost 200,000 hunters in the last 20 years. So the one buck rule isn't as simple as a yes or no issue. It's a conversation about balancing opportunity with management goals, and balancing tradition with the desire for bigger, older bucks. If you're listening to this and you have thoughts on this, I'd love to hear your opinion. Leave it in the comments below. Next week, we're going to definitely continue this conversation. We're going to be talking about the other part 2 of this, and that's diving into antler point restrictions, the data behind them, and how they compare to the 1 buck rule. At the end of the day, we need to look at both topics. I know a lot of times in life we can become closed-minded. We can get one idea in our head and we just shut off any other reasoning. But it's okay to look at both sides of this. It's okay to look at the facts, look at the data, and come to a really educated decision. Not based on bias or personal opinion, but based on facts. Listen to the other side just like you want them to listen to you. So at the end of the day, we can come together and try to help this herd the best way we can. I know the DNR, sometimes we feel like, oh, they're against us, but we need to speak up. We need to make our voices heard. Send those emails, make those phone calls. Really take the time to invest in the future of hunting in the state of Michigan. But until next week's episode, I just want to thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Backyard. And I want to remind you to enjoy the outdoors, respect the resource, and keep conversations going about our great state and the hunting and fishing that takes place inside of them. Until then, thanks for tuning in Beyond the Backyard. I'm Steve Kretovic, reminding you enjoy the hunt, respect the resource, and always explore beyond the backyard.